Well, hello again everybody, and as I mentioned in a post on here a few days ago, someone has very kindly and anonymously sent me a radio to look at. This is a Ferguson 3188. I quite like Fergusons in general, so I'm looking forward to seeing this. Radio Museum says it's from around 1978. Now, there's nothing on the dial markings to identify that. The medium wave and long wave frequencies are changed around by the BBC at that time. But as you can see, this has no station names on those bands. So we'll just have to assume that that's correct. Doesn't really matter anyway, does it? In terms of how it looks, yes, it's a little bit grubby in places, as you'd expect. At least the telescopic aerial is intact. I'm assuming that it doesn't just fall out. We got 4 bands having a shortwave in addition to the domestic broadcast bands, a slidey volume control and a rotary tone control, which feels a bit wobbly, might need tightening up a bit. The tuning cord mechanism seems to be in order, that's a good start as well. Nothing special on the finish, black and silver, pretty standard for the mid-70s really, if you didn't have the fake wood grain look. Some people would prefer the black and silver anyway. On the back we have mains inlet, so you can run it off the mains, DIN socket which has a tape recorder symbol and a gram symbol, so that feels like you should be able to feed in from there to the speaker, and a headphone socket or an earphone socket, more likely in those days. So have a look at the bottom. We have a battery compartment. I think looking at the manual it said it took C cells, so 6 C cells will be the way doing it. Oh, help, help, I'm being held prisoner in a radio factory. Well, there are worse places to spend Christmas, I think. If you can find a radio factory nowadays, that is. Is there anything else on here? Not really. The model number. Let's try and put some batteries into it and see what we get. Right, put some batteries in it. There's an on and off switch here. Oh, let's just turn that down a bit. Not getting anything. Must admit I don't have many C cells, so it might be that I put some duff ones in. Aren't very good. I need to get a new set really. Oh, contact maybe. Yeah, I'm going to put a power supply on this instead of these C cells. I don't know how long I've had these. I probably do need to get some new ones. So let's dump those out and connect a power supply to it, and hopefully that'll make things a bit better. Oh, I forgot it's got a main socket on the back of it, so let's just try plugging it into the mains, shall we? Oh, something happens there. Right, this is on FM. Better shut that down before we get hit by copyright. So it looks like there's FM coverage but no AM of any sort, so shortwave is dead, medium wave is dead, long wave is dead. Is there a little, possibly a, I don't think that's an intermittent switch because it's all of them, so it looks like there's nothing from the AM output and quite a lot from the FM one. Right, well at least we know where we are with this then. We'll take the thing apart and have a look. I think it says somewhere of this it was made in Taiwan, so our prisoner wouldn't have been held in the factory in Enfield, which is not surprising, it was demolished many years ago. Interestingly, the FM aerial isn't connected up properly. Now that might be because I unscrewed that when I didn't need to, so we can fix that certainly. There's a lot of very tight wiring here, which is going to make it quite difficult to get at things, I think. The speaker is a rather weedy affair compared to other Fergusons that I've seen, which have had something much more substantial in here. I didn't really get a chance on listening to it then to see whether or not the sound is any good. Looks like the old style germanium transistors. In fact, let me just do a quick look at the circuit diagram offline here. Yeah, there's a lot of Japanese transistors in there, so it's not the usual Mullard stuff that you would find in these sort of sets, apart from the output transistors, which seem to be a standard AC187, AC188 pair. So definitely by this time they'd outsource their manufacturing, so you will get a lot of these hard to find Japanese transistors that you can't really tell what the equivalents are. Although it doesn't really matter, to be honest, you can usually substitute any silicon transistor of the appropriate polarity. So I think we need to have a quick look at the circuit diagram and see how it's put together, because some sets have separate radios effectively for AM and FM, and I'd be quite surprised if this one does, given its likely price point at that time. And as you can see, it doesn't. The IF bit is common, that is, it's the same for both AM and FM. Not that it spends its time hovering between the spoons and the betting shop, and you can see it splits into two detectors here. So I think it could be an intermittent switch. It could just be the FM switch which flips between the two. Well, that seems to have done the trick. What are we on here? Hard to tell, isn't it? I haven't got the face here on. That's medium wave, it's supposed to be, I think. So let's see what we can find. So around 3:30 should be.
I've been talking to the woman in question, who we are calling Sarah. Now, Sarah told me how the delays came about.
Probably delays came about. I'm trying to find a suitably anonymous name for use on the radio. So yeah, that it does seem that the AM is working now.
Or quick fit book today. Parts of South Wales under an amber warning for rain. Western areas covered by less severe yellow alert.
Let's try the long wave, see if we get anything on there. Might have to turn it round a bit, but
Building societies really offered mortgages back.
yeah, there's radio 4.
Basically.
Shortwave, I'm less optimistic that we get anything on that. Can we hear anything? I mean, it's only a very shortwave band we got here. I'm not sure we'd hear anything at this time of the day. Oh, we know. Sorry, I can remember now what I said was that this aerial had become detached from its connector. So if there's no telescopic aerial, there won't be any shortwave, will there? Let's try just shoving some 6.1 megahertz on it and see if we get anything. Well, there we go. I'd say that's pretty close, really. Let's just go to 6.3. Yeah, similarly close, so I'm fine with that. So I think the AM is generally working on all bands now. Let's have a look at the FM and just see what we can get by tuning around it. So that's Classic FM, which should be a little further back than 102. It should be 101.9. Let's extend this aerial a bit.
Good morning, TJ. I am back off holiday.
Hits radio. Radio 1, bit faint.
But that's okay. It was just an honour to be recognised. I've had a very busy and turbulent year.
Yeah, Radio Cambridge, you're almost dead on. Radio 4, just about. I'm not getting a massive amount of reception here. I'm just going to add a bit of additional aerial to it. And there's Radio 3. Looks fairly close, should be 92.3. It's the other Radio 3 from Madingley. And Radio 2. So it looks to me like all the controls and the radio generally just needs a clean. There doesn't seem to be a lot wrong with it. And I don't think it even really needs an alignment from what I could see. So this could be quite a short video. I did ought to check on the battery compartment. I said, I think maybe I just had some grotty C cells that I probably need to get some new ones. So I think the main thing is just to give it a clean up.
Fine, I had an opening line in mind, something that summed up the predicament and at the same time let the reader know that we wanted to be rescued.
Nothing else for you, my friend. Christina, this is an extraordinary message as well. The saddest song for me is Driving Home for Christmas. I always have to turn the radio off.
Shame she's gone, but we've got George, we've got Karen, and...
No one's ever gonna hurt you. I'm gonna give you...
BBC Radio 1.
BBC Radio 1. Buy 4 at Christmas. But what if you added just one more gift? Hits Radio's Cash for Kids Mission Christmas needs you.
Second or third today, and maybe it's going to be a Christmas jumper-filled school run if your little tyke had their Christmas themed dinner today. Hey, listen, make sure you keep hearts on your school.
Hopefully them putting in the building blocks to a more buoyant and sustainable positive future for Welsh rugby.
Polls which showed the Conservatives had overtaken Labour.
Yes, exactly, which is, you know, good. Well, it should unquestionably good news because after May and Reform did so well in those local elections, the question.
So yeah, not much was needed here really, just to clean the switches and pots, and it's now fine, as good as it's ever going to be. I've polished it up obviously and cleaned all the grime off it. I've also put something white behind the scale because it was all yellowed plastic behind there, so at least now you can see the scale and numbers, and touched up the red on the needle. Yeah, it's alright actually, but I have to say, for a Ferguson of that vintage, and if this is indeed 1978, I think they've gone a little bit backwards on their quality. I don't necessarily mean the quality of assembly, although I have some concerns about that, because the screws were held in by metal inserts in plastic which had come out and had to be glued back. But more in terms of the sound. There's another Ferguson radio I'm going to show you. I'm just going to play some of, say, Radio 3 on this for a moment.
Is this
Now here's another Ferguson which you will see a little bit more of in a future video, but I don't know how it sounds to you, but to me the sound is fuller and better from that. It's not surprising, it's got a bigger speaker for a start, although you can't quite see it here at the moment obviously. And to be fair, it is an FM only set, but this is just really so much better, and this is from about 1973 I think, or maybe a little bit earlier. So I do think they've gone backwards from having a British manufactured set to having a foreign manufactured set. I'm sure their costs of manufacture went down. Obviously, it's a different era of Ferguson that we're talking about. This is still the British Radio Corporation era, I think, and at this point it had become more firmly Thorn EMI, as you can see from the logo here on the front. And obviously, as a bigger company, they decided to outsource more, and I don't think it completely worked on this occasion. We have got a much older Ferguson radio as well, which we will look at sometime in the new year, and I think that will be quite interesting to do. The only other thing I'd say about this is I can't really get the volume control much above here without becoming deafening, so I don't know why that is. There's a few radios you see like that. I don't know if possibly something has gone wrong in the set. I mean, it doesn't really matter, it just means you haven't got a lot of adjustment on the volume here. Or maybe it was always like that, I don't know. I'm not inclined to start taking it apart and looking at the electronics, because as we can see, it was basically a good set. There was not really much to do with it except cleaning things. And in a way, that's the sort of set I like in terms of usability, in terms of content for YouTube. It's not so good, but I would definitely like to thank yet again the person who sent it to me, who gave us a little bit more content, even if it was fairly short. Anyway, thanks for watching, Merry Christmas, and I think there's one more video before the new year, so I'll see you on that one.